Hello, Team Gihugeness. It's so great to be here. My name is Tammy Morrison from the United States of America. I live in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is about 20 minutes north of Nashville, Tennessee. And I want to thank Andrew for asking me to put this video together for you guys to discuss my journey in Karatbars, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So a little bit about me. Most of you know who I am, but I spent most of my life, about 20 years of my life in corporate America, meaning I got up every day, put on the banker suit, went to work, drove thousands of miles a month. I started out as what we call a dealer development representative. I quickly made it into the dealer development representative training position, and eventually into the national sales trainer position. So I had an incredible job with Citigroup, the bank, through their auto division. But I'm a firm believer in that everything in your life happens for a reason. In September of 2009, I received a phone call from a very special friend of mine that I met through the auto finance division. His name is Britt Gober, and his wife is Cheryl Ann Gober, who is my sponsor into Karatbars. He called and asked me a very, very simple question. And the question was, if I asked you to save a gram of gold a month, would you? And my answer was yes. Britt and I had worked in a small nutritional company before. I had done several other network marketing companies before Karatbars. In fact, Karatbars is my 13th company, which means I failed 12 other times because I never ever made enough even to cover my auto ship. But each time I failed, I learned how to fail forward, and I learned something new from that experience. So when he called me and he asked me that simple question, if I asked you to save a gram of gold a month, would you? And I said, sure, tell me more. What's the website? And he said, we don't have one. And I said, do you have any gold? He goes, no, we don't have any gold. And I said, okay, I'm in. So a couple weeks later, I got a phone call from Citigroup. They had started laying off employees, closing branches in 2008, April of 2008. So I knew the time was coming when the ship would eventually sink. And I was really, really honest and tired of being on that sinking ship. So little did I know is that simple phone call would completely change the trajectory of my life, because I had the sense to say yes. So a couple of weeks later, I get the phone call from HR. I had trained everyone in the company. They knew that the company was going down and my services were no longer needed. So they ended up paying me through the end of the year, and we had to do our research on Karatbars. But guess what, guys? There was really nothing to do any research on. We couldn't find anything about Herald Sites. We couldn't find anything about Karatbars International because there was no Karatbars International at the time. We actually went out on blind faith and hard work. So in April of 2010, we decided to go for it. Cheryl Ann and I said, you know, we had actually sent somebody over to Stuttgart to check everything out. And he came back with just glowing reports on everything that he's seen. And so we said, okay, let's go for it. But how do we build a business without a website? So we decided, let's start with our warm market. And then Cheryl Ann actually told me, don't tell anybody, but I told everybody. So, you know, thank goodness that I did. So we started, you know, calling our warm market, talking to the people that we had worked with in the past, and putting names down on an Excel spreadsheet. Can you imagine signing up for something knowing that you're not going to make one dime, not 1 cent? You just know that it's the right thing. And we knew it was the right thing. So for 1 year, from April of 2010 to April of 2011, she and I and our team, because this is a team sport, it's not a me or you sport, it's team sport. She and I and our team were sending this Excel spreadsheet back and forth to each other. We were manually copying and pasting, changing the username, changing the sponsor name, and sending out welcome emails to the new affiliate and sending out congratulations emails to the sponsor. And we built the team deep. We wanted it to have depth. We didn't want a wide team. We wanted depth, and so we could be a true team together. So in April of 2011, you know, it gotten to the point, I had a severance package for my job before, but the money ran out. Okay, so in December of I think it was 2010 or 2011, I ended up having to take a job, and nobody would hire me. I was interviewing with so many people, but they wouldn't hire me because they knew if I found something better, I would just leave. And they were right. To be honest, they were right. So when I finally convinced a friend of mine that owned a Ford dealership to let me work in his internet department. I was making about a third of the money that I was used to making. Um, and it was a very tough time for us financially. You know, we ended up going through bankruptcy. We ended up almost losing our home. I'm still here. We're just now redecorating the home again. If you guys are following me on Facebook, check out my bathroom pictures. But we knew in our hearts that this was the right thing to do. So when we finally launched the company in April of 2011, I get up from behind my desk and I'm so excited because we had built this company so well. And then we figure out the pay plan because we didn't know what it was before. The pay plan was only the unilevel plan in place. Okay, so everybody had to be saving in gold, but you had to save 100 grams of gold before you could get the gold delivered and before you got your 3% discount. And only then could you get it delivered to your home. So we were not making any money at all, guys. This is from 2010, 2011. So in 2011, I had to step back and walk away with my head, but not my heart, because my heart's Karatbars. It always has been Karatbars. I'm just one of those people when I dig myself into something and really put my heart and soul into it, I'm not going to back away from that. So I got a job, or I got a call from a friend of mine who worked in the same business that I'd worked in before. They were looking for an account executive for the state of Tennessee. I decided I have to take this job to support the family. My husband owned a landscaping company. A lot of his money went back into the landscaping company. So we were barely surviving. So I took this job in May of 2012, and I was doing really, really well. And we were back on our feet. Everything was great. And I get a call from Cheryl Ann in June of 2013. And she says, you have to come back. And I told her I can't. I promised my husband that no matter what, I would do nothing but work a job, because he'd seen me fail so many times before. And she said to me, the 6 most important words I've ever heard in my life was, nothing else matters. Get a package. So I did. At that time, I had to get a gold package because that's all I could afford. I got a gold package. I wrote my bonus down in my checkbook as half of what it really was. And when my husband questioned, and I said, we had a really rough month at Ally, which was the company I was working for. So the gold package, we had to have it delivered to her house because my husband would have went ballistic. By the time I got over there to pick it up, I was able to get the VIP package. Okay, remember, back to the basics. This is all we had in the beginning, was bronze, silver, gold, and VIP. That was it. That's all we had to choose from. Get a package, save a gram of gold a month, tell some people, make some money. That's the basic Karatbars training. Our advanced training is get a package, save a lot of gold, tell a lot of people, make a lot of money. So it's a very simple concept. So I went ahead and ordered my VIP package, not telling my husband what I was doing. And the day the package was delivered to our house, it was raining and he wasn't working because, remember, he owned a landscaping company. So when I came through the door, he says, you have something from FedEx. And I said, what is it? And he said, I don't know. I said, let's open it up, see what it is. And I said, oh my gosh, honey, look, I've made VIP and look what they've sent me. And he said, who is they? And I said, they is a word I'm not supposed to say in this house, because he told me never say the word Karatbars in this house again. And so I had to show him, the commissions that I had made up to that point. And then he finally said to me, after a little bit of a heated argument, just go for it. And I went for it, guys. I went for it with everything that I had. From June of 2013 till October of 2013. So June, July, August, September, October, maybe about 4 months. I was still working that corporate job 50 hours a week. I was still driving 3 to 4,000 miles a month. I was still doing the things that needed to be done for my job, but in my spare time, which spare time to me was, I don't need that much sleep. So it was very, very early in the morning. It was very, very late at night. I was working my Karatbars business. And so October of 2013, we had our very first freedom celebration in um, Nashville, which is, like I said, I live 20 minutes north of Nashville. It was an incredible event, and there weren't that many people there. Okay, maybe 500, maybe. It's when I first met Lawrence Hasbrook from South Africa. And I remember I had been talking with a friend of mine and asking, how do I know when it's time to let go of that guarantee? How do I know? And he said, you'll just know. And when it's time and you do it, the air will smell crisper, the grass on your feet will feel better, food will taste better, and you'll just have this amazing feeling. And so on that Friday night, the first Friday night, we pulled up to the event, and there's a Rolls Royce in front of me. And I'm not kidding. The vanity tag on the back spelled out Stuttgart. And I thought to myself, Mr. Seitz didn't drive here. So that's a sign. And the entire weekend, I had signs just slapping me upside one side of my face and down the other. And so on that Saturday night, when I was called up to receive my Bronze Director Award, I turned around and I told everyone, I can tell you guys anything, or I can tell myself anything, and I don't have to hold myself accountable. However, if I speak it to you, then I have to hold myself accountable. I said in 2009, corporate America laid me off. Monday morning, corporate America is getting laid off. And he was right. Everything changed. I have been this full time since October of 2013. I have not, regretted one single moment. We've been through so many issues. When we originally started with Karatbars, we were in a two-story, in 2 floors above a clothing company in downtown Stuttgart. Our operation was not that big. And now look at the huge corporate building that we have in Stuttgart, Germany. One of the greatest things was when in 2015, Cheryl Ann and I went over to Germany, and we were on our way to Poland to open the country. But Mr. Seitz wanted to take us to this wine festival, a wine and food festival downtown Stuttgart. But he took us and walked us to that original office building. And I looked through the window and I could still see Karatbars International on the post office box. It was still, the name was still there. And then looking at how far we've come into this new building that we've had so many issues, so many setbacks, so many drawbacks along the way. And one of the ones in 2013, we were delivering gold that was falling apart. How the gold is laminated into the cards? They were just falling apart. So did Mr. Seitz say, so sorry, I give up, I'm not going to do anything? No, he went out and bought the best lamination machine possible. And he brought everything in-house because we were having it done by a third-party company. We've been through issues with, with banks. When we originally started, he had everything set up through PayPal. PayPal froze all of his funds. Then he had to end up going through a Chinese bank. That didn't work out either. So now we have everything in place. So from 2010 until 2000, the end of 2017, we built this business on one thing: get a package, save some gold, tell a lot of people, make a lot of money. And we built this organization 500,000 people strong with just that. Then in 2018, 19, we introduced the coins. I remember sitting in that meeting in Las Vegas in January of 2018, and Mr. Seitz is talking about a cryptocurrency. And my mind was, I'm thinking, what are we doing? We're a gold company, okay? Here's what I know, and I know it from the bottom of my heart. Mr. Seitz has a vision so big that it scares the crap out of me, okay? I'm just being brutally honest, okay? So What he's thinking and doing right now is something that he thought about 3 to 5 years ago. Because in 2008, he started thinking about Karatbars, and we didn't launch until 2011. So we have to trust and believe in the process of what he's doing. So when I look at Karatbars now, remember, 2 stories in a clothing company above Zara, to moving into our corporate office across the street from the Mercedes-Benz headquarters, to going to this cryptocurrency, then moving forward into our Impulse K1 phones and our laptops, and seeing the future. I wish I could see inside of his brain, because I know he's going to take us to a place we've never, ever been before. So I encourage each of you, just understand and trust the process. When we were waiting to open from 2010 to 2011, Mr. Seitz kept saying, just trust me, trust me, trust me. I remember he sat me down at that first Freedom Celebration in Nashville, sat me down at a table, and he said, will you give me 5 years of your life? And I said, sir, I'll give you the rest of my life. And he said, then I will make you a millionaire. So we have to trust and believe that Mr. Seitz is going to do everything he can. Are there going to be delays? Yes. Okay. The Impulse K1 phone, sorry. Everything that went on in Hong Kong with all the riots and all of the things going on, the phones were ready to go in October. Okay. Now we're starting to receive our phones, but it wasn't a delay on Karatbars' fault. It was a delay on what was happening in a country. Okay. The WIM laptops coming up, the CEM's getting delivered. Everything is a process. There are going to be setbacks. There are going to be delays. But we just have to roll with the punches. You know, I haven't gotten my phone yet, but you don't see me out on Facebook complaining that I don't have my phone yet, because I know it's coming. So I implore each and every one of you, keep the faith in this company. This is the greatest company in the world. I have never made one dime less than what I'm supposed to make. I've never been delivered 1 gram of gold less than I was supposed to. I am here forever. I am here for the rest of my life. And I hope that you guys make that decision to be here for the rest of yours. Thank you so much for listening to me. Have a fantastic meeting. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to come back to South Africa. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.